Hello, everyone. This is our monthly November predictions from Phillip, my spirit guide, to help us out. And normally I don't take questions for the monthly. I just read what Phillip said about what we can expect in the upcoming month. But this particular month, I took some questions because they really don't fit into our weekly messages. Our weekly messages tend to be a little more esoteric in the questions and a little more universal. These questions had to do basically with uh, more with the election coming up. So I know that's on everyone's mind worldwide, but specifically here in the U.S. Also had to do with some U.S. Electronic currency. So we're going to get to those questions. Excuse me. And of course, we will get a soul message from my spirit guide, Phillip, from this particular book, The Master's Book of Answers. And as most of you know, each page is a different message. So we'll get that later on. I want to get started right away because Phillip's comments to us are rather long, longer than usual, not that long, but longer than usual. So we want to get into the month of November. And I have to say, normally it's my favorite month because my birthday's on the 11th. And I will turn a big 7-5 the 11th of November in just a couple of days here. So here we go. Hello, my sister Carol. I'm so glad you caught me live. Carol and I go back. Carol's up in New York State, and she's my Celtic sister. And hello, Cynthia. Good to see you. Also, I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be on the internet. So we're going to get started right away. And Dawn, hello, hello. Here we go. So glad to see all of you. It always surprises me to see people live, but I'm always delighted. So hello, Judith. I'm glad you caught me live as well. So here we go. I'm going to start with just what Phillip wanted to tell us, and then we'll look at those very specific questions. And it's not always what we want to hear, but I think this will help some of us calm down. I have to say, so many of you tell me that I always appear calm, and I thank you for saying that because I'm a bit of a nervous wreck doing these, especially the I want to say especially the monthly, and then I think no, the weekly too. But the monthly is hard, especially with what we're going through in the U.S. So here we go. Hopefully, this will give us some hope, though. And somebody wrote in the comments one time about how biased I am against the current administration. Yes, I am. You're right. Well, hello. Hi, Wendy, and you're most welcome for all I share today. Thank you. And thank you for the support, all of you. It really means a lot. Yes. All right, here we go. This month of November is a big month in which the energy will shift midway through. So we shall address both halves of the month and do our best to clarify the difference. It must be said that the energy emitted by each being creates the energy that directs the personal life and the collective whole. Humans seem to have a difficult time understanding this concept. You create your own life, and in doing so, you create the life reflected in the world. You can change your life regardless of the current circumstances. However, change may not come immediately, and it may not come as you wish. If you ask for a golden balloon, for example, excuse me, before you receive it, you will have to heal all that holds you back from that colored balloon. While you do the healing work, you may receive balloons of different colors or no balloons at all. This is where most humans become discouraged and give up. They then turn their power over to someone else and cry. They then turn their power over to somebody else and cry, "Do it for me. This is too hard." November brings about this specific scenario. And this is what is affecting the current U.S. election, that not only the U.S., but the world is watching. I'm going to repeat that. November brings about, the part I'm going to repeat is most humans get discouraged and give up when we don't get the colored balloon that we've asked for immediately. And then we turn our power over to someone else and we say, do it for me. This is too hard. That's our mistake. We can't do that. The election energy is quite erratic and will remain so through the first weeks. It will look like one man won, only to have those results turned over and then turned over again. To be more specific, Biden will win the first election, but that will be challenged, so Trump will remain in office, but only temporarily. By the middle of the month, the people around the world, and especially in the US, will grow weary, so the matter will settle down. At that time, as of today's energy, Biden will be sworn in as president in January 2021. We say as of today. This is important. Listen. We say as of today because the energy is most volatile and could change. We do not think the final outcome will, however. That said, it depends upon the people of this country, the U.S. They cannot hold the energy of anger any longer, nor be silent. There is much that can be done in love, and that is the power that must be used. It is not only the election that will cause disruption and turmoil in the U.S. in the early weeks. The fires will continue across the West and the storms along the South. These will settle by mid-month, but not disappear completely. Expect a storm along the East Coast that will cause damage as well. Charities will have a greater influence over people's lives in November, so give what you can and be as generous as you are able. Your generosity will come back to you. In the latter part of the month, the energy will settle. This is not to say it will be calm, but calmer. To many, it will seem calm because of how strong and erratic the last few weeks of early November were. So early November is going to be drive us crazy. Later in the month, things will calm down. That's not to say they'll be calm, but they'll seem so compared to early November. It would behoove all to remain calm. This is an opportunity to look at one's own emotions and the individual's need for healing. Let us now address the specific questions you have before we have our final words for you. So the first question is, how much cheating will take place in the 2020 election? And Phillip answers, there has been cheating tried, but it is being overridden by the populace. That which you are concerned about will take place after the election. This will cause the uproar early in the month, but be settled as we spoke of earlier before the last weeks. Going to be a tough month, friends. Okay, question. Will Trump make a fraudulent claim of victory? Phillip, there will be a claim of victory, as we spoke earlier. Fraudulent is not a word we would use, however. Question. What will be the party makeup of the new Senate and the House? Phillip, much like the presidential election, it will change in the early weeks in the Senate. The outcome will be very, very close. Seats will be filled by those running as a Democrat in enough states to have a Democratic majority in the Senate. The House will remain controlled by the Democratic Party. Because many have asked for the healing of the country, this will bring about a period of calm. However, until the healing is complete, the underground will not go back gently for some time. It will seem it has, but the earthquakes will continue. Once November calms, know it is only a temporary calm. Eruptions will occur again throughout the year and will into next year. Question. Clarify what was said last month that the current president will remain in office, but not when. Phillip answers, as we spoke earlier, the man Biden will most likely win the election by vote, but this will not be accepted by Trump. This will go through the court for his appointment, but the people, if they change the energy, will have an effect and Trump will leave the US. Question. The Banking for All Act was proposed to start a digital dollar by the Federal Reserve with a planned rollout by January 2021, but it hasn't passed the Senate yet. Do you see this passing or any other introduction of an official U.S. digital dollar? Phillip answers, this will not pass the Senate at this time. Nothing will take place before next spring when it will be looked at again. Question, will the COVID-19 virus go away soon? Phillip, no. There is a possibility of the virus becoming less harmful to humans as it mutates, but this will take several months yet. Let us leave you with our final words. It is time for all humans to recognize their responsibility in creating the world. Each human is to look within and ask how they may best serve their own life and serve the world. To change the world does not take everyone, but simply enough to reach a tipping point. Whether you are creating anger and disruption or peace and love begins with each of you. Let's create peace and love, my friends. We can do this. We can do this. All right, let's get our message from Phillip. And I want to say thank you to each of you who come for the weekly. For those of you who are with me live, you're holding the energy for me. And I deeply appreciate that. And for those of you who make comments, and for those of you who have asked about a private reading, you can just give me a call. My phone number is on the website. We are rebuilding a new website, but that's going to take some time. So let's get our message from Phillip. And, you know, it always surprises me how it fits in with what we've just talked about. And I will be back here Friday with answering other questions that are more esoteric in nature. And by that, I'm talking about questions that have interest to everyone around the world. And Wendy asked, are we to protest after Trump sends it to the court? Are we to sit and meditate? And that's a good question. So let me answer that. It depends. Some of us should be sitting and meditating and seeing our world in peace and love and sending love and peace to all of those in power. Others, that's the peaceful, and others are to be the warrior and to go out and march, and hopefully not to riot, but to go out and march, possibly even stand in silence. Standing in silence in a group, a huge group, is very important. And what we need to do is ask our own hearts, what is it? Take ourselves into our meditation and our prayer and say, should I go out on the streets or should I stay home and meditate? Should I join a group and meditate online? Remember, COVID is not gone, so that has to be an individual question. Some people have the power of the shaman and the warrior. Others have the power of the mystic and the prayer, and both are needed in today's world. And there are those who have both and are always walking that fine line between the warrior and the peacemaker. So thank you for asking that, Wendy. And it is important for you to go inward and ask, what is it I should do? There are things that we all can do. We can certainly write our senators and our representatives. So definitely keep in contact, but don't do it in an angry way, because think about when somebody says something about you in an angry way or a way that puts you down, you don't hear it. You just get angry yourself. So do it in a strong, but in a powerful, but a loving way. And that can always start with thank you for representing the people. As a person, I would like you to please consider that this election was, et cetera, go from there. So I hope that answers the question. So let's get our message, our soul message from Phillip. And there we go. I'm getting left. So if you get left, that means we just got the same message. If you get right, then that's a message that you need to hear as well. I've got the microphone here, and it's hard with the book. And I want to say I just glanced at both messages, and I think both are important to our message this month and to November. November is reminding us without a receiver, there is no giver. Without a receiver, there is no giver. So, my friends, what that says to me is each of us, let's receive as well as give. And you've heard me say, when we breathe out, we give. When we breathe in, we receive. And you heard Phillip say earlier, be generous. Well, please also be generous with yourself, because you have to be able to receive to actually be able to give. So receive that love that comes to you, receive all that comes to you, and then pass it along in power. And I just want to say, I think a lot of us will be out on the streets, but please be very, very careful if you're out on the streets, and let it be a peaceful, let your voice be that of peace. Let it, and if your intuition at any time says don't go or says leave, please, please listen to that intuition. Do not partake in the anger of any of the riots. That's not going to help. That's only going to make it worse. And if it's right for you to gather in with others, then do that. If not, if it's for you to be quiet and peaceful in your own world, you are creating something. Even if you're sitting alone, you are creating peace. Remember, that tipping point doesn't take everybody to go there. All right, here's what it says on the right side in Phillip's book. Others interact with you from the level in which they express life. If you live on a different level, will you not then interact from a different perspective? Let me read that again, because I think that's really important. Others interact with you from the level in which they express life. If you live on a different level, will you not then interact from a different perspective? You know, you've heard me talk about new souls and old souls before, and I don't like to put things on a hierarchy, but if as we develop, as we grow our own soul, as we develop and grow through our human lives, we become more knowledgeable. If you're dealing, I've learned that as we develop more spiritually, we have to let go of those people and those ways of doing things in our life that no longer work. And that can be very painful. That can hurt, especially to let go of people that we may feel we love, but just we can't anymore. It's not dividing the world. It's our moving to a new dimension, a higher level of living in the world, so we can then help those others eventually become more loving themselves. We cannot do it for them. We can only live by example. And I always say in my workshops, all I can do is give you the tools. You have to do the work. So, my friends, we have our work cut out for us, but we can do it. We can do it. See our world in love, please. And remember, that tipping point isn't so far away. I honestly think we've reached it. And that just makes my heart sing. Thank you all for coming today. I love each of you. Thank you, Carol, Cindy, Dawn, Judith, and Wendy. And thank you for being there for each other, for yourselves, for me. We love you, and we thank you for accepting that love. And we thank you. We receive it. Thanks. See you Friday. And again next month. Friday, go ahead and send your questions. We have a list right now, but we'll put your questions on the list. And again, on monthly, yeah, we are going to go ahead, I guess, and take some questions, but they're of a different nature. So thank you. And thank you, Wendy. So glad I found you on YouTube. I'm glad you did too. Thank you. Join the love. And Alex, so glad you joined us. Thank you. And thank you for your message. Judith, thank you. Love you all. Until Friday for our weekly message.